Hello, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. Or can you hear me? Hang on. Something wrong with this. Hmm. All right, let's try again. Hello, everyone. Hope you're all doing well. I had a little problem with the microphone, but and another problem with lighting. Hang on, I got to turn that. Ein Moment, bitte. Which means, ちょっと待ってください. Which means, un moment, s'il vous plaît. Which means, one moment, please. Yes, I'm in a goofy mood because I just came back from a 40-minute walk in the 3-degree centigrade by the ocean, but it wasn't that cold. You know, we are Canadians. We eat cold for breakfast, and when it's too warm, uh, we're not you're not so cool. Hmm. All right, let me say hello to everyone who's here and thanking you all for being here, keeping me company. I'll be speaking a little bit quietly since I don't want to disturb my neighbor. She's a lovely lady and older lady, and I'm also scared she'll bang on the walls. So I don't like that. So I'll be quiet. Um, well, I don't blame her. It's late at night and the walls are very thin. Uh, So my living room is right adjacent to, I guess, the other apartment's bedroom. So that's pretty much a problem for her. So let's see who is here. Carpe Diem is here. Oh my goodness. Hello there. Welcome. He says, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year 2022. Sending my blessings to you and your loved ones, Mehran. Thank you very much. And same to you as well from me, to you and your loved ones. And thank you for your kind energy and attention to our channel, to me, and your wishes. And he says, Life is not easy, but we must stay strong. Thank you for all you do. My pleasure. My pleasure. Kapitiam says, Thumbs up for Mehran. Already 12:28 a.m. here. Is it? You're only 1 hour ahead of us? Oh, I see. I thought it's more. I thought it's 2 hours. And Carpe says, Thank you for being you. Such a blessing to have you, Maran. My pleasure. And thank you very much for your kind words. And I appreciate that thoroughly, wholeheartedly, rather. And Rahul here says, Hi, sir. Missed your talks in between. Hope everything is good at your end. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Um, Aneshwa Bardham says, Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I guess it's. But where are you, Aneshwa? Are you in Europe or you're in India? If you're in Europe, it's already almost morning, 8 o'clock or so in the morning. And if you're in India, yeah, that is afternoon. That's why you're probably in India then. Hussein says, Hello, sir, 19 Male India. How are you? Thank you very much, Hussein. Thanks for being here. Tyler Gray says, What's up, Nairan? Not much. Just came back from a walk. Don't you guys forget the protocol, age, gender, where you're tuning in from. I forget. It just helps me to remember. And Paranav Pulwar says, hello, Paranav. Protocol, please. And Rahul says, Hi, sir, 34 male India, 2.5 months over, wife didn't call. Oh, or message me. Aha, I called her 2 days before to speak with my daughter. Wife asked me to speak with herself, but I didn't speak. Why not? She said, speak to me. So I said, okay, what is it that you want? And I said, I will talk with you later, and had a talk with my daughter. Speak with my daughter after a long time for 15 minutes. After that, no contact again. Rahul says, now my query is, should I call to my daughter daily or not to call? No, your daughter should not be deprived of your love. If you're genuinely interested to talk to your daughter, you talk to your daughter. It doesn't matter what your wife may think. Oh, he wants to talk to me, but he's excusing himself or using the excuse of talking to daughter. It doesn't matter. What matters is the fact. The fact is you got to take care of that daughter and you want to give love to that daughter. So talk to her every day. And every time she wants to talk, she says, "Yeah, what is it that you want to talk about?" And if she has something to say, well, you'll see what you want to answer. If she says, "Oh, I don't know, I don't have anything to talk about. I just wanted to know, don't you want to talk to me?" You say, "Why? What's there to talk about? You left my home. You haven't called back for 2.5 months. Obviously, you're having your life figured out, so you don't need me anymore. But I like to talk to my daughter because I think she would need me and I need her. But your life is up to you. You haven't expressed any interest to talk to me for the past 2.5 months. You haven't given real explanation. You're being stubborn, and obviously it doesn't matter what I say. You've made up your mind. So I don't have anything to say. If you have anything to say it. I'm here. If you don't, then let me talk to my daughter." I guess from what I sense from you, this is how you want to handle it. If there's another way you want to handle it, like saying, "Yeah, sure, what would you like? What is it that you want to talk about? Yeah, I want to know why you left and all that." That's up to you. But these are the options that you have. You make your decision, not me. Um, but don't be hostile. If you really want this thing to work and get back together, find out what is it that it bothers her. So what is it that you're so stubborn? What have I? Whom did I kill that you're so angry with me? Hmm? Because look, the wildest horse, and I'm not comparing women to horses, so don't come back and tell me this and that. First of all, I love horses. I'm a horseman. I ride horses. I train horses. I love horses. I'm friends with them. They're like my family. When I see a horse in the street, it's like I saw a family member. That's the kind of a relationship I have with a horse. So if I use a horse example, it's not a disrespect to women or anybody. It's just the way that I express this point. Plus, horses have a strong character, and that fits this particular or some of the examples that I want to use and situations. Obviously, your wife is stubborn or for some reason, but the strongest and most stubborn horses, you cannot bring them to training or bring them to compliance or calmness or cooperation, communication by anger, yelling and screaming and whipping and swearing and, loud voice. It's all with proper communication techniques, hand movements, sound effects, pressures, the way you sit, the way you position yourself, posturing. and proper signals and communication that the horse will respond and understand. Yelling and screaming and being angry and shouting or showing you know domination and ego, that's not going to help. Horse is very strong, and women too. The stronger they are, the more logically you should be speaking with them. Whether they are strong or not doesn't matter. It always has to be logically. So find out what's her logic. Say, listen, you want to talk to me? What is it that you want to say? I want to know what's your logic for creating such a shamble in our lives. You don't want me, you don't like me, that's fine. But you want to make an excuse for what I did, which was wrong, and I already apologized. But what do you want me to do? Go cut my hand or cut my head? What is it that you're after? Think about what you're doing. And if you're reasonable, I'm more than happy to talk and see what your motivation is, what your uh, beef is with me, what your complaint is with me, and we see if we can resolve it. If we could, great. If we couldn't, then we just go our merry ways and we separate. You find another husband and I find another wife. It's not the end of the world. And we both make sure that we'll take care of our daughter. That would be something reasonable and see what she says. Because your intention should be clear. Do you want to break it off, use this excuse to break it off, or you want to put it back together? First, figure that out and then see if you can bring that to fruition. If you did, good. If you didn't, then you know your answer. Okay, now let's go to Mazakaral. Mazakaral says, hello, Meran, 34, male, Australia. Hello there. Says, I know in the past you have mentioned that memories are thoughts we have and that don't really mean anything. I said they're in the past, and the past is dead, so they don't exist. So if it's a bad memory, there is no fear to it because it's dead. It doesn't exist. It's just an echo of it. But in reality, there is no such thing in existence to affect you in any negative way. And he says that the thoughts we have that don't really mean anything. However, when I have thoughts about my ex, I begin to miss her. Well, of course you do. You're a human being. And when you think of her, you're not going to be thinking about what went wrong and what things were wrong with her or with the relationships. Obviously, naturally, automatically, by default, anytime we think about the ex, we think about intimacy, sexuality, smiles, laughs, good times, because human being escapes the bad memories and wants to gravitate toward the good memories. So if you think about your ex, it's always going to be something that is pleasant, whether sexually present or whether interaction was pleasant or the experience was pleasant. Uh, Smiles, laughs, travel, these are the things that you would naturally by default remember because human being is built to forget about the bad things. Yeah? If we didn't have that feature of forgetting about the bad memories or painful things, the first thing would happen with the whole human species would cease to exist. Why? Because every time a woman gets pregnant in childbirth, there's so much tremendous amount of pain that if she would remember that pain, she would never want to be pregnant again. So every family would be having one child and that's it. Because that pain, the memory of that pain would not leave the woman. But they all, about a month or two after giving birth to their child, they're ready they don't mind to get pregnant again. Because that whole memory of pain takes a back seat to all the positives and pleasures of the whole one, some experience. Yeah. So naturally, when you think about your ex, you will be thinking about the good things, good times, and then you miss her naturally. And don't forget, we explained this that when you think about the ex, you're not just thinking going into memory to think about the ex, you're actually going into memory to bring back the order of life that you had when the ex was around. And now that the order is broken, your mind doesn't find security because it finds its security in the routine, in the order of life. So that's why you go into the memory because in the memory, that routine, that order of life still exists. The recording of it is still there. So you go in there and the mind finds security through the echo and the recording of the memory that still is recorded and exists in the memory. But while you're in there and enjoying that feeling of psychological security, she's also there. Then, of course, then you remember the pleasantries and pleasant memories with her, and then you miss her. And plus the fact that, remember, when you're in the memory and you see her and you miss her, then all the prerequisites necessary for desire to be born, which are there four or five or six things, they're also recorded and they exist in the memory. So when you see her, all the prerequisites of the desire, which is recorded in the memory, also come up. And then you think, the brain thinks that it's fulfilled again and it's refreshed. Therefore, you desire her now. Not because you desire her, because the prerequisites of desire that is recorded in the memory has now been replenished or refreshed and come to the memory, and naturally you desire her because the prerequisites call for that. It's all because you go in the memory to find order, to have your mind feel secure again. That's how mind finds its security, in the order of life. Now that you've lost the order, you go into the memory to find the order. When you find the order, you find her. When you find her, the prerequisites of desire is also refreshed and you desire her. Then you say, I miss her. So move on, find life, find another girlfriend, endow yourself with education and expertise in some field and make money. And then you will find a new order. You've created new order through doing new things, and that order will keep the mind in the present moment rather than going into the memory to find order, to find security. And then you will be busy with life and you will not be thinking of her so much. That's the rhythm of this whole scenario. Taylor Gray says, Maron, what are your thoughts on Carl Jung? Well, who am I to talk about Carl Jung? Carl Jung was a famous psychologist and psychotherapist, and his books are all over. And I haven't read anything from him, but uh, I know that he's a very famous and knowledgeable psychologist. I can't compare myself with him. Yeah. So, Mazakaral says, then it comes to a point where I can stop thinking about her and wondering what she's up to. Yeah, well, it's all because of that. So, we already discussed that. Focus on your life, not on someone else's life. How to deal Pranav says how to deal with the mind when it ruminates on a something, or when it tries to convince you, even though I have never consciously been attracted to it before, that some sexual preference is true. I'm sorry, I can't follow the question because it doesn't with the sense that you want it to make to me. How to deal with the mind when it ruminates on something or when it tries to convince you. Yeah, we've talked about that 100 times before, Pranav. You have to focus on the separation between brain and you. You're not the brain, and brain is not you. The thought that comes to the screen of your head, it happens to be mounted on the screen of your head. But that doesn't mean it's you. It doesn't mean it represents you. It doesn't mean it's your thoughts. That's why you have to remember that all human beings, 8, 9 billion of us, as many as we are, we all make intrusive thoughts and all kind of weird thoughts all day long, 80, 90,000 thoughts a day. But you're ignoring every one of them, because if you were to interpret every one and pay attention to every one of these intrusive thoughts or extra thoughts during the day that are not your thoughts, it's brain's thoughts, and you're oblivious of making of these thoughts, then you wouldn't have any time to do anything else in life. So automatically you ignoring them. Now there's one more thing that you got to ignore, which happens to come to your attention while those other 80, 90,000 thoughts that is being made all day long are automatically ignored. Now you got to purposely ignore this. How? When you see intrusive thoughts or ruminating on certain things that you're not interested and it's not your values, what you do, you recognize that this is an intrusive thought. And then you call it for what it is. That's intrusive thought. You say it. Or that's OCD, it's not me. It's HOCD, it's not me. It's the brain, it's not me. And then once you recognize the intrusive thought and called it for what it is, then you focus on your life and what it is you set out to accomplish on that day. And let it go. Ignore the thought. Because just because it happens to be in the screen of your head, that doesn't mean it's yours. Because it's not. It's the brain's thought. Brain itself uses its own apparatus and makes thoughts all day long. And none of them is your responsibility, and none of them you're aware of it. It's not even your doing or your desire to make such thoughts at all. You're not even aware of it. But it brings it to your attention, and then you think because it was made in my head and it's not dissipating as it's supposed to, because it's not in line with my values, but it's not dissipating. So you say, well, if it's not dissipating, it must mean something. But it doesn't. It just means the signaling system of the brain is malfunctioning. As we talked about it many times, there is a certain kind of a thing similar to a lever in an automatic car transmission, that when it reaches a certain speed, it changes to the next gear up or changes to the previous gear down. Automatically takes place. Same thing, this lever called caudate nucleus is designed to automatically shut down intrusive thoughts that are not in line with your values, because your values and what's important to you and your inclination is all known inwardly. And this mechanism in the striatum called caudate nucleus is set to automatically shut down thoughts that are intrusive and are not in line with your values. But when it breaks down and it doesn't function as it's designed to do and malfunctions, so when the orbital prefrontal cortex makes intrusive thoughts, however, because of the anxiety or amygdala or overactiveness of it or any other reason that it makes thoughts that are not in line with your values, caudate nucleus that is malfunctioning is not shutting it down. And when it's not shutting it down, it doesn't dissipate. When it doesn't dissipate, you think must mean something. It must mean that I am this, or I'm changing, or I'm interested in this. No, because that is at the time that you recognize the intrusive thought, you call it for what it is, and then focus on what it is that you want to focus. Because in life, you roll by your vetoes, power of veto, and choices, not by the suggestion or images or ideas or thoughts of the brain. Now, when you continue this, the brain will rewire itself through neuroplasticity, which is the way you deal and you react to thoughts, which in this case you ignore and you don't react to them. And they lose their ability to create that anxiety in you and then create that alertness in you, and over alertness in you causes all these effects and so on, and then these interpretations that you do. And then eventually it subsides because the brain learns that you're not interested in these thoughts. It can't get a rise out of you. It can't get an interaction with you. And then it learns that you're not paying attention to it. So it reprograms itself. And then eventually it doesn't show up. And if it does, you know what to do, how to manage it. Then it's not a mystery to you anymore. You're not freaked out by it because the jig is up and now you know how the brain operates. Independent system. It's got nothing to do with you. In other words, you judge what brain makes. The thoughts that the brain produces, you judge them. You don't follow them. That's it. Because you are the intellect, not the brain. You're the boss, not the brain. And we have so another question you have is how to deal with the guilt that comes when you postpone something and get bad results. Procrastinate. How to fix these things on the long run and permanently. Well, learn from the mistake you made. You procrastinated something and then something went wrong and you got to pay the cost of it, or whatever it is to you, that cost. So you say, I will not do that again. I will not be lazy. I will have schedules. I will do it before it's going to be too late and I would face with the consequences. So you change that habit every time, every little thing that you need to do, you'll do it on time. Then eventually that becomes your habit because again, neuroplasticity works out and gets a new habit to you. We've explained all these before, guys, and then we can discuss that. If you guys need any particular discussions and consultations, you can always, longer than what we can spend time here on each question, you can go on my site, mindthatseekstruth.com, mindthatseekstruth.com, make an appointment for Skype consultation, and we'll discuss and explore together what's concerning you one on one on Skype. And Manav oh, we've got Carpe Diem says we are 1 hour ahead, Mehran. Alberta 43 male Alberta. Okay, thank you very much. Yeah, yeah. I don't know why I thought. I think maybe that's Saskatchewan that is 2 hours. Yeah. Um, Carpe Diem says now it's 12:41. 12:41. Yeah, that was like 15 minutes ago when you put that note in there because right now it's 12:01. You must be 1 minute after one over there. Manav Matpati says, sir, if I was straight before OCD thoughts, so I'm now also straight. No, yeah, you don't change your inclination by thoughts showing up or images. I explained to you that's a malfunction of the signaling system of the brain. It's not like you're changing to something else. Remember, we have the analogy that you're not cow's milk, that if it stays a little bit, then you become buttermilk, sour milk. And then if you stay longer, you become yogurt. And sometime, eventually, after many long days and so on, you become cheese. It's not like that we keep changing. Because if you're changing to that, then we've got to change from that to this again. And how many times this is going to happen? These are all mental issues that it's different than someone who's actually have a different sexual orientation. So learn and educate yourself about OCD and substance of OCD, and then don't be bamboozled by these things. Paranav says 18 male Indian. Paranav, just 2 lines up, you were 17. Did you grow 1 year in about 10 minutes? Says how to deal with procrastination. I just responded to that. Yeah, I just responded to that. Anvesha says female, 29, India. Says how to stay calm when there is no reason to be anxious, but the anticipation of something bad may happen is causing a lot of anxiety in leading to hypervigilance and intrusive thoughts. Well, there are many techniques that you can use. First of all, to recognize the role of anxiety in our lives and the fact that we want to protect ourselves and what we love and what's important to us. That's why our amygdala becomes overactive and tries to alert us with things that are not even dangerous, but it considers them dangerous. So we would be really doing our best to protect what is important to us and what is sacred to us. Also, if you're anxious, there are ways that you can help yourself. One of the famous psychologists, I think Professor Feldman, I'm not sure his name, but anyhow, he mentions that being anxious and stay in it or being depressed is kind of similar to keep walking in a circle on a soft ground. The more you walk around, the deeper you go in because it's a soft ground and you keep pushing the earth down and you Digging a trench, you actually go inwardly until it becomes very deep, and you're deep in that kind of a corridor that you've created by walking around on that soft dirt, and then it will become difficult to jump out of it. So, what the psychologists and psychotherapists do to the patient who's gone so deep there that it's hard for him to come out to see a window to do other things, then they give an electric shock. Now, of course, that is not what we're talking about. It's just an example of how they treat serious depression, illness that nothing else could have fixed it. So they use that in order to jolt the person out. In other words, get the person jump out of that trench that is stuck in it to jump out to the main road. Jump out, come out to the level road, not in that groove, because you created a deep groove that you've ended up being there by keep walking in the same circle. So in OCD anxiety, or in depression, or in anxieties that you may feel for certain action, you're waiting for a result of a test, or you're waiting for this and that, you feel anxious. If you remember, we talked about two breathing system that we have: pre-Butzinger complex, which is the way that it's by default we breathe the way we do, in, out. The rhythm is very clear: in, out. This is pre-Butzinger complex system of breathing, which is the way it's designed for us. That's how the lungs work. But unlike other things that are involuntarily, and we can't interfere with it, like heartbeat and so on, breathing system, we have another system alongside of pre-Butzinger complex, and that's parafacial nuclei. Parafacial nuclei system allows us to interrupt the regular breathing to a certain kind of a sequence of breathing that we like to do or it's called for, such as when we are crying. mm, that breathing is not from the uh, from the pre-Butzinger complex system. It's because we have a different system called parafacial nuclei that it can modify the breathing rhythm. Or when you're laughing, that's also because of that. Now, we use this secondary system of breathing and do this exercise that I'm going to introduce to you, so it will kick you out of the anxiety, just like that groove that you've fallen into, and kicks you out to jump out on the main road and be able to go further rather than keep running around that circle. So this is what you do. If you feel anxious, you use that system that I told you, and you do this two long breathing at the same time. In other words, like this. So you make a, you see, it already calms you, calms the hell down. So you make it two long double breathe, double long breathe. You hold for a few seconds, and you slowly let it out through your mouth or nose, but mouth preferably. Gently let it out. You will see, if you tried right now, I want to ask you a question after. If every one of you who is interested, do what I just did, and I'm going to do it again, so you do it with me. Double breathe in, hold, and then let it out till it's completely out of your lungs. Then breathe normally. If you notice, while you were breathing in and exhaling, there was nothing else in your mind. Nothing else was being thought. Everything was shut down. That's why you're totally relaxed right now and you don't feel anxious. Hmm? This is something that you can do it anywhere, and that will help you to regain your balance and deal with the momentary anxiety. This is one of the things that Dr. Huberman discusses and teaches about these different breathing systems and also the way to handle anxiety in a short moment. So, I hope that's helpful to you. If everybody's done that, you'll see the relaxation of it. Carpe Diem says, nice shirt. I assume you like Popeye's chicken. No, it's not a chicken place, actually. It's a nutritional and supplement store. I think it's nationwide in Canada, but um, there is one close to where I live, and I just it's just as when you buy a certain amount of products there in this particular branch, they offer a very nice quality T-shirt, very nice cotton, and I like the T-shirts. So I bought lots of things. I've got like five or six of these T-shirts, and they're very comfy and very usable. So they don't sponsor me, so it's just there. If it's gonna advertise for them, great, no problems. And Rahul says, I feel good on some days and then feel low, very low, lonely at other days. Very tough time for me. How can my wife remain stable at her end and not bother about a relationship, what she wants? Well, you listen. Sometimes some things that may not seem so big or important to you are very big and important to somebody else. If you agree with me, to be fair, women are not treated fairly in most cases in India, Iran, places who are very traditional and they have real male dominated place. I'm not saying that males should lose their ability to provide and support and protect and lead when it's their expertise and relinquish all that behavior because that is pretty much what women actually eventually expect from their man. But what I'm saying is that in such countries such as yours, India and Pakistan and Iran and some countries nearby, culture is very strong and very male dominated to the point that is no longer normal. It's abusive to women. And women have had it because their mothers have been abused. They seem to be abused in the streets or be disrespected. And when they are married and their husband also, instead of creating a very safe environment for them to feel that they have a husband and he will protect them, even from himself, but yet they feel that they're being mistreated at home, which you admitted that you did something silly, and even though you apologized and so on, I understand that. But still, to her, that apology has not brought back her honor. Hmm? Especially, she was the love of your life, and she came to you as a wife. She felt the husband will protect her from the way maybe she was treated at her own home by her maybe strong willed father. But she comes to your home and she feels she's being put down to the point that you slapped her. Well, that certainly is not going to sit well with her, especially if she's a strong willed woman. So maybe it has hurt her so much that has turned into certain kind of a resentment towards you or toward that environment that she would be subjected to that kind of a behavior. So maybe you need to be more understanding of what the consequences of this is to her. To you, It's not much because you feel you apologize should be okay. But women or men both have pride and honor. They don't like to be dominated at the wrong time. You may allow your wife to do whatever she wants with you when you're in the mood or when you're willing to be kind of, take a back seat to her. Or your woman may allow you to do whatever it is you want to do when she allows it or she feels like to be submissive. But that doesn't mean that she would expect to be treated in that way at any time that you feel like it. And the same goes for you. You don't expect her to be so informal in some places that you want to have a certain image. So you want her help. But at that time, if she kind of treats you in a way that is not in line with what you expect your image to be, then it would be an important thing to you. So, what I'm trying to say is that you might be a little bit inquisitive to find out what is it that is of her concern at the moment. What else do you need to do? And if she comes up and says, I don't like you anymore, I don't want to live with you anymore, then you have your clue. But if she says, look, this has been, I want certain kind of assurance, this will never happen again. I don't feel safe. This is not good mentally, psychologically, physically. I don't want to be living in fear. Then you got to understand and listen. And none of us are really that high and mighty to actually think somebody else is dirt or I can walk all over her. Because after all, that's the same woman that gives you the pleasure that you can never find it anywhere else. Comfort at home, feeling good and safe and secure, intimacy, and so on and so forth, the rest of it. So you might want to think it through a little bit and see how you can manage this amicably in the way that she would be feeling good about the way you manage it, and she feels, um, you know, uh, she can regain her balance and her honor in your eyes because she doesn't like to feel unworthy in your eyes. So you need to show respect to make her feel that she is worthy, and don't try to break your woman. Anyhow, that's as much as I think needs to be talked about. I'm sure you understand where I'm coming from. Pranav says 17 male Indian, how to deal with the mind when it ruminates. Oh, we did that, didn't we? Yeah, we talked about that. Versus Manav says, if I loved girls before the thought, okay, why are we here? We already talked about these things. And Taylor Grace is 21 male from US. Thank you for that. Where in US is it, Taylor? Manav says, Pernav, bro, okay, you're talking to him. Taylor Grace says, 21 male US. Mehran, please give your thoughts on Carl Jung and his ideology of the psyche. As I mentioned, I don't think I could give an opinion about Carl Jung's work because, first of all, I'm not in the level of Carl Jung. Second, I don't know what his ideology is in order to compare it and give an opinion versus how I understand the psyche. But once I get a chance and read his main dissertation and see what actually his claim to fame is, if there's a particular one, or if you tell me your particular one, I will research and see what he has said, and then I'll give my opinion about it later on. Um, Aman says, then she suddenly deleted that message. Which message, Aman? That's the first message I have from you. I don't have any other message from you, so I don't see the message before that one. Aman. So it says, what should I do? Ask her again about it, or she was just casually joking, or is she really mean it? I don't know if girl makes blow comments in joke or not. I don't know if there was another message. It's not here. I don't know. I can't connect them. Taylor says 21 male US Mehran. Would you agree that men are both masculine and feminine? Every human being is both masculine and feminine. We are made out of masculine and feminine. If we don't have feminine, a very difficult way to live. We can't feel much. And if it's all masculine, we'll be brittle. We are like the samurai sword. You know, when samurai sword is being made, it has a soft inside, a metal alloy that is not so brilliantly hard. It's a little bit softer in the middle. Then it's encompassed with a very hard metal. The alloy together makes it strong and flexible. That is why it's got so much power and also ability to cut through without breaking. So the softness and hardness is all together to make it a complete presence. And everybody has masculinity and femininity. There's no woman who has no masculinity in it because that is where they need to be tough, strong, and resilient and to deal with the challenges of life. And then softness, all that feeling and ability to sense and so on and so forth. Men, the same. If we were all just masculinity and no femininity, we would not feel or understand or be able to comprehend, or the sensories work the way they should, and would be just someone who wouldn't have the ability to be flexible and balanced. So these both are necessary. Like yin and yang is necessary for any balance, has to be both. And it says, and HOCD is a result of the repression of the feminine side of ourselves. What are your thoughts? No, it's got nothing to do with that at all. HOCD, as I mentioned, has got many reasons that I've explained in the two large playlists that I have. One interprets the thoughts that comes to the head of someone with OCD, HOCD, and the other one proves, and I have proven it philosophically and scientifically. The modern science have proven, along with the philosophical point of views, that brain and you are separate. When you understand the separation of brain and you, then you're free from HOCD. At least you begin to understand how you can be free. So, Goldie Kumar says, I'm Gold from Dubai. Sometime I focus a lot on intrusive negative waste, impure thoughts. Thoughts are thoughts. It's not impure or pure. Don't label it like that. Otherwise, you're just going to be in trouble. You're putting yourself in trouble because you think, oh, that's impure. I'm pure. And, then it just gives anxiety. It's a thought. Who gives a shit what it is? It's the brain makes thoughts. You're supposed to just understand that the brain is a thought manufacturing machine. And most of the thoughts that it makes is irrelevant to you. You don't even know that it's making those thoughts. And they're not your thoughts, certainly not your thoughts, and certainly not in line with your values. So don't have to label them in that way. Pure, impure. It's a thought. All thoughts are garbage. All of them are illusion. None of them are real, actual. Yeah. Sometimes these intrusive thoughts disturb my sleep. Yeah, sure. It's intrusive. If you believe them to disturb you, the key is to just brush them off. So they're just like farts. What do you do when you fart? Oh, I farted. It must mean something. No, it's just a reaction to some gas there, and your body wants to get rid of it. That's its job, to get rid of these things that are not useful to you. Brain also is trying to get rid of all these things that it comes to it and it's supposed to make it. So it puts it out and see whatever. If you use it, if you need it, use it. If you don't, you just ignore it. And that's what you're supposed to do. But you're not supposed to pay attention to, oh, this thought came. It must be, sorry, it must be a meaning for me. It must be a message for me. It must be a mandate. Or I should find out. None of that. It's just let them go. Like farts. Anonymous says, hi, Miran. Hello, Anonymous. Rahul says, thanks, sir, for your wise advice. My intention is to restore the relationship, but waiting for her initiative because until she makes up her mind, things will not restore. Okay, then, when she says, I'm here, talk to me, you say, I would like to talk to you, but I'm waiting for when you're ready to talk to me because you're very angry and I don't want you to be angry. I want us to talk. And so when you're ready, you let me know. I'm here. I will protect you. I will not abandon you. I'm here when you need me. I wait until you're ready to talk, and I will talk, and I will listen, and we will discuss matters, and we see what we can do to bring our life to a standard that is acceptable to both of us. So you will talk like that, and she's not crazy to run away if she sees that you're the strong rock behind her that she can lean on, rather than a monster that is willing and ready to punish her. Don't do that. All right. Taylor Gray says the self regulating psyche presents itself in the form of HOCD. To bring attention to the feminine, we are repressing within ourselves. Yeah, because you're interpreting that femininity, and because it has a connotation of a representation or a misrepresentation that femininity is necessarily homosexuality, then you resent it and you come up to defend it and you start shying away from it and you find it hazardous instead of simply understanding that it's a thought and femininity is necessary for masculinity to be stronger and more uh, sensitive and wise to be able to see the situations in all tangents, not just what's in in form of action, but also in the form of emotion and energy. And for that, you need that understanding of balance between masculinity and femininity. So perhaps that is the angle that he's coming from. Once we learn a balance, so you're talking about Carl Jung's opinion about OCD, HOCD. Is that what you're saying? Because I wasn't understanding what part of Carl Jung's um, opinion you want my opinion on. Anyhow, you need to understand it doesn't matter who says what, it matters how you understand it. And if these things that many different people, experts or researchers and so on say are helpful to you to understand what HOCD is, rather than who said that, this said that, that said that. Just pick up the understanding and education and knowledge and develop ability to rewire your brain to bring it to where it was always designed to function as. Hilio says, hi sir, please help me. I have HOCD and even before HOCD, to be honest, I didn't feel woman that attractive is I didn't feel woman that attractive. Is it normal? Well, I don't know. It depends on what it is that you experience. I don't know what kind of woman you were looking at because no matter what you are, women are attractive in every way, shape, or form. But that is something that perhaps needs a little bit more discussion. So you might want to make an appointment with me on Skype through my site, mindthatseekstruth.com. and we can explore it and figure out what concerns you one on one on Skype. Because I don't know exactly what part you're referring to here, and how to get into the conversation and explore that right now. Can you guys hear me, or am I speaking too softly here? I'm really controlling to speak softly, but it actually is pleasant because it doesn't take so much energy out of me. You know how passionate I get about a subject, and I go all out in lots of emotions. Okay, let's see. Taylor Gray says HOCD is analogous with the wand of the Fisher King in the story of the Holy Grail. Okay. Goldie Kumar says not paying attention on intrusive negative thoughts. Can we get rid of any kind of mental health issues and emotional issues? Well, I'm not a psychologist or psychotherapist to know a general answer to a general question. If it's a specific question about what kind of a mental health issues, then one can have a certain opinion about it. But as a closed up, there's so many different mental issues that I don't know which one you're talking about. Some of them are very serious, and that's got nothing to do with OCD or HOCD. It's got a lot to do with, other malfunctions of the brain. But the fact that the brain malfunctions is something very clear, and we should be, uh, you know, aware of that and try to maintain the health of the brain as we so carefully, take steps to bring fitness to our physical portion of our entity. We should also bring health and fitness to our mental through meditation, through understanding, through knowledge, and so on and so forth. Sonia Mona is here. Says Salam Eran Jun. Salam Sonia Jun. It's good to see you here, dear. You have been absent in a couple of the other ones, or a few of the other ones. So glad that you're here. And Hill EO says, by the way, I'm 13 male. Oh, you see, that's why I always want to know how old you guys are. That's what one of my conditions is, that I want to know everyone's age, gender, and where you're tuning in from. Because this channel is not made for people under 18. That's why if you're 13, I want to make sure that you have permission from your parents to be here and to participate and listen to what we have to say. So that is what that's why I always ask for everyone to give me those data: gender, age, and which country you're tuning in from. P. Irlo says, hi, Miran. You are such a great person and a specialist. May I know your background? I'm guessing Persian. Is that right? Well, background in nationality, yes, but background in my education, that's got nothing to do with in Persian or not. But first of all, thank you for the kind words, and I appreciate that. Yes, I was born in Iran, and I was raised in Iran till I was almost, not quite, 18. And then my father sent me to university in the States, and then I went back to Iran. I went to military. I became a second lieutenant in the infantry division. And then we were supposed to continue our services after receiving our 1 star for the next 2 years, the remaining of the 2 years, in the field of the study that we had completed in university, in some organization, factory, or company or whatnot, according to our expertise. And that would be still considered as our military service program, because we didn't want to be a lifer in the military. We just went there because we had to. We had to serve in the military. Anybody who had university education, they gave certain kind of a program. So once that was done, the same time the revolution, so supposedly, or that what happened in Iran. 9 months after that, I left Iran, and I have been here in Canada, residing in Canada, for the past 43 years, and I haven't seen Iran for that long now. So I don't know really how things are there, what advancements or opposite advancements have been made. So I'm kind of oblivious to it. But well, that's the background as far as that is concerned. But most of my life I've lived in North America. And so now, and did you tell me where you are from and how old you are and where you're watching these programs from? Mr. Erifel is here. He's 27 male Chichia. Says, tonight I had several dreams about my ex who cheated on me after 10 years together. First two dreams were just our relationship, all the kindness, reciprocation, love. Of course, even the physicality, you mean intimacy. And then the last one was me just chasing her around and asking why she did it. I know these are just dreams and trying to just ignore it, but it rises up, rises up all my emotions. Oh, I see. I'm just having a reality. I'm just having a really hard time coming down from cloud nine because the relationship really was almost perfect for me. And the little thing that weren't, I just accepted as part of the package. Look, you need to understand something, Mr. Arifal. You cannot live in the past. Why you keep thinking that this girl or this relationship was what it was before it went haywire? Why don't you see it for what it is? What it is not what it used to be, but you're still looking at it with the eye of the past. Look at it with the eye of the now. Now she's cheated. She did something terrible to the relationship while she was still in a relationship with you. So why is it that you constantly look before this change of behavior happened? And you keep reminding yourself of the relationship in light of the past. Once you remind yourself as what it is now, the actuality of it, then you realize that there's no reason for you to hang around this because you're just having a selective memory of the good parts. And then you're thinking that even though she has done what she has done, it's still a good relationship. And you're asking why you did it. What do you mean, why you did it? She could have not done it. She could have separated from you and then do it. But she didn't choose that. She did something that is not acceptable. So why don't you see her for the actual person that she is? That's her. Because when it came to make a decision, she made the wrong decision because she was still in a relationship with you. Hmm? And now you're just trying to chase her to find out why you did it. Who cares? The fact is that she's done this. Why doesn't matter? Because there probably is no justification for it. You weren't abusing her, you weren't beating her, you weren't emotionally abusing her. You were a good boyfriend, and that's what she did. So why are you not seeing it? Because you're not seeing it, you're constantly thinking about it all the time, every day, all day long, and then you dream about it because the dream is really, in most part, the you know manifestation of what your mind is occupied during the day. Otherwise, there's no message in there. And the fact that you say she was almost perfect, well, that's because you're constantly thinking about the time that the problem didn't exist. But how could she be almost perfect when she ended up being this? You know what it is like? What you're telling me is like this. You went on a flight a trip from one country to another, and you take a plane, and the plane ride was supposed to be 22 hours. Hmm? And for 19 or 20 hours, the service was good, the plane ride was fine, no turbulence, pilot was great, everything was good. But then at the 21st hour, plane crashes, engine falls apart, and the plane dives down, and so many people get injured, and you miraculously walked away. And then they ask you, how was the flight? You say, well, 22, 21 hours of it was great. Only that 1 hour. But that's no way of judging the flight. The flight bloody fucking fell down. The engine tore apart and it crashed. And you're not noticing the end result, and you're focusing on the 19 hours of good service. So you're calling the flight not bad, only 1 hour. But that 1 hour was, was devastating. So your opinion about the relationship, about the flight, should be it was terrible. It crashed and burned. But instead, you're sticking to that 21 hours that was no problem, and you want to dub the whole flight as, well, it was pretty much good other than the last part. And what was the last part? Oh, that's when everybody died. So that's kind of a funny way of looking at it. And that's how you're looking at your relationship. Oh, it was really good. She was almost perfect. She just fucked with somebody else at the end. Well, that you can't then still keep thinking about before the end result. And you got to bring that end result in the whole consideration of the quality of that relationship, and then conclude that this was not the relationship that I wanted to be continued with this person, because I cannot trust her. But instead, you're trying to find out why. Who cares why? The plane fell. The engine fell off. It wasn't solid. And it took 21 hours before it fell down. That doesn't mean it was a good plane. It meant it wasn't made well. That's why it only lasted 21 hours. The relationship came to bad ending. That means the girl wasn't having the qualities that you always thought she had. Why? Because when it came to the hour of decision making, she fucked up. Hmm? And for that reason, you cannot want to make this thing with her or even find out why or whatever. The fact is facts. That's what ended up happening. And that disqualifies her for you to keep ruminating about it. Disqualify it and move on. Build your life. If you really want to have a good life, you got to move on and understand things the way they are rather than what you think how it was at one point of the relationship or so on. Rahul says, I feel the possibilities regarding my wife. One, she wants to stay with her parents and enjoy her new job for a few more months and simultaneously teach me a lesson. Two, she wants her own space without, but she should think about me at least and my daughter, whether with her father. I don't know what that word is. Look, when you say she should, she doesn't have to. It's not a should. It should be a certain kind of a circumstance that she would want to, not should. She must be responsible for the daughter, and you should be responsible for the daughter as well. That I understand. But you can't expect her to be in a certain way regardless of how you treat her or behave with her. Come on, get off that high horse. I understand your cultural habits and you want to feel manly just like everybody else expects you to behave, but every one of them have problems with their wives because they are too headstrong and they're not fair to their wives. They mistreat their wives. Most Middle Eastern men and not just limited to them. Most men in the world, at one time or another, most, not all, at one time or another, they mistreat their women, especially if they're from cultures that are very traditional and very, still sticking to the old value of do what I say. And in fact, the women in those cultures are also very hard headed because it's not like 100 years ago, it's now, and they're fed up with what happened to their mothers and grandmothers and how they lived and the stories they've heard and so on. And they're now having this feeling of revolting against any little, even if it's not such a big deal, but they will revolt in a very overwhelming reactions. So you need to manage this situation and create a certain kind of credibility about yourself in her mind by your behavior and the way you treat her, being understanding and taking responsibility for the bad behavior that you did. I'm not saying that she's all good and all that, but I'm saying you, as a gentleman, as a man, as a strong person, must not raise a hand on a woman or child ever. I don't care what happens, ever. A woman should feel safe in the presence of her favorite man, not frightened. And there are many men who feel frightened in the presence of their woman. That's also terrible. So manage it, Rahul. Find a way to communicate with her, and through your behavior to the next God knows while, when you guys eventually figured out that you can compromise and get back together and see how it goes, just have a rule, a principle. I shall never raise my hand over my wife or my child, ever, because they are under my protection, even from me. That's how you should be thinking. That's a man who is protector. Hmm? And they will feel it. That feeling of security will make them put up with all kind of other shit that you might, be involved in. Not serious ones, but a little here and there stuff. Because you're genuinely protecting them and loving them and good to them and treating them well. That's pretty much what woman wants, to have assurance of that. And the rest of it is God knows what women want. Only that part we can figure out. All right. So Atif says, "Hey, Miran, 39, male, New York City. I just returned from a trip to Latin America and had relations with prostitutes there and enjoyed my time. Protected." Okay, I'm glad that it was protected. "I'm thinking I can continue this lifestyle occasionally." No, no. I'm 100% against it. 100%. Beside the health reasons that you don't even know where they've been, what their lifestyle is, what they're engaged in, what kind of people they're with, beside all that, and beside all other possibilities of, I don't know, health hazards and whatnot, it lacks emotion when you're with a prostitute, because she's doing a business arrangement, but you're going in there with emotions, because she's a woman, she's beautiful, and you're a man, you fall for her, you like her, you love to touch her, you want to be with her, but that emotion you're giving and you're not getting anything back, because that's not what she's there for. Hmm? So afterwards, it doesn't feel that great, because you feel like you were there, but she wasn't. Maybe physically, yeah, but emotionally not. And lovemaking and intimacy is all about exchange of emotions. Otherwise, that mechanical process of, you know, intercourse is mechanical. Without the emotions, It's just a momentary pleasure, but it's incomplete. And then eventually, if you continue that with certain kind of a good looking prostitute, you're a man and you're visual. And you only judge them for that hour that they're with you or whatever length of time they're with you. And they're at their best look and best behavior. And, they're trying to please you because it's a business transaction. And you make a mistake, think that is them. You fall for them, but they're not. They're doing business. And you end up being used. So I highly I'm against it highly. I'm certainly against it, that lifestyle. All right. Yeah, Atif says, since I'm unsure if I want a relationship and to be nagged all the time by my future wife. But you think, assume that she'd be nagging. But that's something you've heard in the movies and from other people saying. But why would you say that? If there's a good relationship, nobody's going to be nagging. It's going to be a partnership, a relationship of husband and wife. You can't be in a relationship but not want to be in a relationship. There are certain duties and expectations in a relationship that you have a role to comply with, and she has the same, a role to comply with. So you can't say that she'd be nagging. It'd be nagging if you guys are not compatible, and if at times maybe you'd be nagging or should be nagging. Oh, it's part of the whole thing. What do you think you get from a call girl? All dishonesty. For 1 hour, she can tell you the whole world is amazing, exactly the color you see it. She doesn't give a shit. She's just there for the money. That's her business. That's her job. Smile, customer service, and as soon as the customer leaves the door, if you're in a customer service, what do you do? So fuck, that was it. You know, just didn't even feel like it. They didn't want to be there. Depending on what it is that you do, maybe you're in the office and you have people coming and you're doing customer service for some business, and you could be very patient, but that's not really what you want to do, but that's your job. So you can't really feel like she's there and what she represents is exactly her and how you're going to be treated. And then kind of exchange emotions and think about something, and you end up marrying them because they've always been so perfectly nicely behaved. But that's not them. It's just a snapshot of their day in few minutes. And you're judging them based on that. But then the wife who's actually committed to you, and you call that nagging if she has some kind of a issues or natural human feelings and need to vent off or whatever. Anyhow, nobody's perfect, neither this or that, but just don't make that a lifestyle because it's not going to end well. That's my opinion. Rahul says your videos are lifesaver. Only think helping me is your precious videos. I'm very grateful for your videos. Daily watching at least one video. Ah, thank you, Rahul. I'm delighted that they're helpful to you. Paranav says 18 male. How do I was okay. Yeah, you're repeating the same question we talked about already. Rahul says, should I wait in silence for 2 more months and start conversation when she's ready to speak from her side? When she wants to come, she will reach out, or should I start convincing her what to do? I'm confused. Well, right now, you don't want to press her. Let her feel comfortable enough to want to talk to you. Perhaps she wanted to talk when you called for your daughter, and she said, well, I'm here, talk to me. I don't know what that meant. Did she mean that, no, you don't want to talk to your daughter, talk to me instead about her? I can tell you how she is. Or did she mean that, talk to me about, what happened and things like that? I don't know what she meant, and I Don't know what you meant by saying that. But either way, if an opportunity comes up again, give her time until she's ready to talk with you. But trying to convince her of anything won't work. She doesn't want to be convinced. First, you got to find out what's the root of the problem is. Even though you apologize, she's still angry. That means it wasn't enough. It doesn't hurt. You wait a little bit, and it doesn't hurt to, if you really feel guilty about it and you can really see why she's angry, it doesn't hurt if you have a nice conversation with her. You're a man. Send her some flowers. What's wrong with that? And then say, I would like to speak with you and see how you're feeling, and see what else I can do to bring that security feeling in you, and to hear your opinions and your views. Something that you don't jump into trying to press her and convince her of anything. Just let her open up to see that you're willing to listen. Hmm? It will be okay if you do that. It's not a problem. You're already married to her, so it doesn't matter. Don't feel weak if you just show some compassion and understanding and respect. It's okay. It doesn't matter. If she takes advantage of that, that's her problem. Then she can go about her life if she wants to. But if she is stupid enough not to understand that you're being kind and understanding and apologetic and want to make amends and make things happen, then at least you know that you tried, and she's being silly. But it looks like that she's looking for you to take the lead and make her feel important. You can do that. You won't lose anything. If she took it wrong, so what? So what? But you will never say that you didn't try. So maybe, wait a little bit, then send her some flowers, be kind, be apologetic. It doesn't matter. If she took it wrong, fine, no big deal. Bye bye, if she wants that. But if she actually understood that it's coming from your heart, and that opens an opportunity for you guys to think, to talk, that's good. All right, Rahul. Tyler Gray says thoughts of that's an attractive male, then they think their whole manhood is at stake for having that thought, spiraling them into an obsession. No, it is very normal for you to notice the good looks of same gender. There's nothing wrong with it. We all want to be good looking for girls, for women. So we pay attention to what it is that makes us good looking. We take role models. Like when I was a kid, Sean Connery, James Bond was my role model. Like I would like to see, how he treats ladies, how he interacts with them, how he dresses up, and the chicness and all that. These are fine. And he was a handsome man. We all want to be handsome. Therefore, we pay attention to who's good looking. At the same time, we're comparing ourselves always with the other men because we want to be the top dog for the girls. So we kind of want to see, am I still having the best chance, or that guy is better looking than me and he might have a better chance. So this kind of a feeling of comparing yourself, all of that causes you to notice other people's good looks. And that's perfectly normal to see somebody good looking. So, oh, yeah, he's good looking. Sean Connery is good looking. Roger Moore was good looking. Um, many, Cary Grant, uh, Gary Peck, these are good looking actors. What's wrong with noticing their chicness, gentlemanliness, and good looks? It's very normal. Women notice the beauty of the other woman. That's very normal. There's nothing wrong with it. Um, Leo says, what I meant was my friend always say how they find women interesting and how they are attracted, but I never felt that way. And does that mean I'm again? No, no, no. You're 13 years old. At this age, nothing is of that kind of as interesting to you about women as it will be when you're, let's say, I don't know, 17, 18. So that's perfectly normal for you not to be as interested interested in girls as some of your friends are. People have different maturity level in their sexual life, and their interest is not all coming at the same age. Some could be very into it from, I don't know, 8-year old, 10-year old, 6-year old. Some are like 16, 17, 15. Depends. So there is no rule on that. So relax, relax. Just relax. Don't try to judge anything. You'll be fine. Says my friends are a bit older than me. Few are 14, few are 15. So, yeah, that's exactly what I meant. So relax. Just live your life. You have your own uh, blooming time. You have your own growing schedule. So you don't have to be like the others at the age that they're interested in girls already. Different people, different boys, different men arrive to their desired emotions about women at different ages. So relax. Don't even give a damn who is not, you are, you're not interested at this point, how much you're interested. But just don't. Don't do any of these thoughts. Let it be. Let it be, and you will, when the time is right, you will feel what you should be feeling. Errol, Mr. Erifol says, thank you, Miran. That plain analogy is really helpful. Okay, yeah, great. MD Samir Khan says, 18 male Samir Khan, India. Hello, Samir. Tell me, you guys, did you guys take my advice to heart and promote this channel somehow? Did you share the videos you like on your social medias? Did you talk about it on chat lines and promote the channel? Because remember, without you guys, this channel will just wither and die. It grows very slow because we're not getting exposure. And I'm asking you to share the videos on social medias that you have and let people get to know that this channel exists and the videos, over 3,000 videos about thoughts, consciousness, fear, desire, ego, mechanical process, order, relationship breakups, OCD, HOCD, substance of OCD. They're all discussed here and lots of live streams. So it's a useful channel, but we are unknown. So we want to be able to reach people, more people, and help more people. But I need you guys to help out and to introduce this channel by sharing the videos, put it in circulation so we can get exposure. So please do that. Don't just forget about it. Otherwise, as much as you may be interested in my channel, if I don't get enough subscribers to have enough activities on advertising on this channel and we don't make any economic means, any economic goals, then there would be no way that I can spend more time on it. Yeah. So I need your help, guys. Without you guys, this channel cannot be as successful as it should be. Mark says, thank you, sir. You're quite welcome, Mark. MD Samar Khan says, OCD started from childhood, how to deal with it, sir. I have many videos on OCD, what is thought, what is thinking, and learning about OCD on this channel. Just go on there and just put in OCD and see what it comes. Go on my channel, search engine, and put OCD, just the word OCD, and see the videos that talks about OCD comes in, and then you select from the titles and then see what it is. Helio, I answered your question, Hill. Rahul says, she said you don't want to speak with me. I said, give phone to daughter. I still don't understand. Did she say it in a question way? Like, you don't want to speak with me? You know? You need to look. The reason she's not speaking with you, perhaps, is because you need to make her feel you're not a punisher. She's afraid of you. She's afraid of the way you may behave again, dominate her when she's not interested on that particular moment or day, or you may speak to her with a language that she doesn't feel respected. You gotta know how to deal with women, not by force, by feelings, like you treat a flower. You can still arrange them and shape them the way you want, but you gotta treat them nice so they will voluntarily fold in the way and they present themselves the way that is most beautiful and most, uh, most pleasant, like a flower. And they're very sensitive. Sometimes you touch a flower's petals, they shy away, they just pull together. So you got to be very careful, understand your wife, and then make sure she feels always proud and powerful. Even though she will not behave that way in front of you, but she will feel she can be proud and powerful outside of home because you have her back. But if you yourself be harsh with her, she will feel lost and weak in the outside world. All right. Judah Jensen says, this is not a question, but thanks so much for the videos. I really appreciate it. Have a good day, my friend. Thank you very much, Judah. I appreciate you saying that. I would have liked to see how old you are, your gender, and which country or city you're watching the program. Helio says, thank you for answering. You're quite welcome. Mr. Erifield says, yes, I shared and promoted it. Thank you very much for that. I appreciate that. Very kind of you. Very important to me that I can have your help, you guys, and that you guys got the channels back. Neon Purple says 24 Male India. Hello, Neon. Well, guys, it's been 1 hour and 33 minutes, and it is now after 1 o'clock a.m. It's time for me to close down the seminar and wish you guys a wonderful day or evening wherever you are. I look forward to have a chat with you again in our next streaming, and that could be anytime. Just maybe I just started streaming, so because we don't know exactly when, other than Saturdays at 1 p.m., which is supposed to be the regular time that we'll have um, live streaming. But because I may have live streaming now and then during the week or weekdays or weeknights, please subscribe if you haven't and click on the bell and use the option all. I think there are a few options. One is all or always. Click on that one. So anytime that I go on, it will always have you on the list to inform you that I'm going live. So you can join should you decide to join. Don't forget to promote the channel again. And the ones who did it, I thank you very much. The ones who haven't, please do. Otherwise, you're gonna get a visit from the ugly stick. And you don't want to get a visit from the ugly stick. So to help the channel to grow, I'd be grateful, and we will all be able to continue growing the channel together. So in the meantime, I'd like to say I love you all. Thank you very much for being here, giving me the opportunity to share a thing or two with you. I look forward to our next live streaming. In the meantime, be good to yourself and to the others. I'll talk to you soon. Bye for now. Subscribe my channel, visit my channel, and go through the videos that you might be interested in. Mindthatseekstruth.com is making it one step away to talk to me one-on-one on Skype and discuss what's concerning you. I'll talk to you soon.